Hey, everybody, Guy here from Chit Chat Podcast. Thank you so much for continuing to listen. I am so excited for you to listen to today's podcast. The chef from MC's Dugout, Jason Kurtz, joined us, and we talked about local food, and we talked about St. Cloud. We talked about why making food from scratch is important. It's good for a community to support small local restaurants. And it was super, super fun conversation. I say it a little bit in the episode, but I asked Jason to come on because of their pickles. The food is so good, but those pickles, man, are something else. Excited for you to hear it. Thanks again for listening. Jason, thank you so much for coming and joining us on the podcast. Good to have you with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So, Jason, would you maybe just introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Where do you work? What do you do?
I am currently the chef at MC's Dugout, downtown St. Cloud. I live in Sauk Rapids. I got 2 little girls,
Nice.
wife, and we've been in the St. Cloud area
Yeah.
for almost 20 years now.
All right. And where did you move from?
So I grew up here,
Okay.
moved away,
Mm-hmm.
went and played hockey in Alaska, Canada, Grand Rapids. It was a great time as a young kid, getting
Yeah.
to see the world. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
That's cool.
And then, but I started working in kitchens when I was like 16, 17, stopped to go do that, and then just kind of always gravitated back to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was always something that I was very passionate about. And so 2008, I was at a point to where realizing that if I wanted to take the next step, it was to go to culinary school and become fully immersed
Yeah.
in what I do, you know, and really, you know, decide to take my passion seriously professionally as a career.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and we were a month away from leaving Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to go to Miami. I was going to be the executive sous chef at the Fontainebleau Hotel in Miami, South Beach.
Wow.
And my mom got sick.
Hmm.
And so it wasn't the right time to leave. And so I've been here ever since.
Yeah. All right. And so you called yourself a chef, and would you maybe explain for us what's the difference between a chef and a cook?
It's a lot more of creativity side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Writing menus, coaching a staff
Mm-hmm.
is huge
Mm-hmm.
because you're only as good as your employees are.
Yep.
Being here right now with you doing this, I wouldn't have this ability if I didn't have confidence in my staff,
Yeah.
which they're all awesome.
Yeah.
And kitchens kind of get a bad rap sometimes about being dysfunctional and everything. I have the most professional, hardworking crew, and they're very eager to learn,
Yeah.
which is awesome, which I love because I love to teach. I was the culinary instructor at the Tech College for a few years. I also taught culinary arts at Tech High School, which I don't really want to get into that one too much because it didn't last very long. It was I was not cut out for
Sure.
having high school kids.
All right.
But yeah, as far as being a chef, really being creative, writing menus,
Yeah.
teaching staff, being able to talk through your food
Mm-hmm.
to people
Mm-hmm.
is also a big thing. And I think, nowadays being a chef is kind of gotten diluted a little bit because the food service industry has tried to dumb it down so much as far as streamlining and pre-processing stuff that it has taken away a lot of the scratch integrity of the kitchen. So being able to still hone that in and be a part of that is a big deal.
One of the ways that I've explained it or thought about it, and you can just correct me if I'm wrong, that chefs, like you said, build menus, and build recipes that cooks in their restaurants execute.
Exactly.
So kind of like a conductor of an orchestra. It's your job to make sure that it all comes together, and you can't do it without all the different people. They each have to play their different role. Each of the cooks, your fry cook and line cook, they all need to do their different kinds of things, and you're kind of working to make sure that everything comes together seamlessly.
And we have a reset every week. We have to do that because all our features and everything that we start on Tuesday.
And on Monday.
Yeah. End on Monday and start on Tuesday so that everything is fresh and nothing is in overlap of previous things that we've done. Usually, sometimes I'll bring back some of the classics that people say, oh my God, I really love that. You got to do that again. Yeah. But I try not to recycle it. And our features aren't like a lot of places in central Minnesota, which I'm going to get might get in a little trouble here, but a lot of places run a special and it's knock $2 off a bacon cheeseburger on Tuesdays and $2 off of chicken strip basket on Wednesdays. We don't do any of that. Our features are something unique and original to this area that a lot of people don't get around here. It's not on a lot of the menus around here. And, there's a ton of Asian influence in my food. There's a ton of Central American influence in my food, which it can tend to scare a lot of people in this area because they just don't know. But I just challenge people to be adventurous and try things. And I wouldn't put something out there confidently if I didn't think people were going to like it.
Yeah, for sure. I think one of my least and favorite things about your guys' weekly specials are there's lots of new things to try. And then the worst part about that is that when the Korean Brussels sprouts come off the menu, you're sad the next time that you're there. So it is when you kind of get hooked, like, oh my word, that is maybe the best Brussels sprout I've ever had in my whole life. And then it's no longer there, as a patron, sometimes you could end up a little sad that the gochujang and ginger Brussels sprouts are no longer there.
Yeah. And the thing that we do though now is we keep notes on what we do as features. And then when it's time to write a new menu,
you look at what worked.
We look at what worked and what people really enjoyed, and that stuff finds its way onto the menu. And that's how we kind of, can explore new menu options.
That's cool.
Is, running features, seeing how it goes, and then, the response to it. And then we can write the menu and go, God, that was really popular. Everybody loved it. Let's run it, and let's put it on paper and let's get it on the menu. So that's another thing about the features is it really gives us kind of a measuring stick throughout the week of how people, receive it.
Cool. I have 2 ingredients that I am not like particular about, but I think I know, like palate wise, I know pretty well. I know Brussels sprouts and I know mussels. Those are kind of like when I'm going out to eat, those are 2 things that I often look for. And I kind of like it. And I kind of encourage other people, like, figure out an ingredient that you really like. I mean, it could be a hamburger, right?
Sure.
Figure out a thing that, like, you are going to consistently order this on a regular basis when you're out. And because you know what a normal version of that thing tastes like. I know Brussels sprouts really well because in as many restaurants as I go to, if they have a Brussels sprout dish, the likelihood is very strong that I'm going to order that. And then what I like about it is because I know Brussels sprouts, I get to know something about the chef. Like the way that this kitchen approaches food in general, I get to kind of like decipher that through Brussels sprouts because it's an ingredient I know and I care about. How do you approach it? What's your thought behind it? How do you handle it? And so I think that's a fun thing that I love to do, and I encourage other people. Figure out what ingredient do you love, and then make sure that when you're at a restaurant, order that one so you can, have a little bit of a standard that you're kind of checking stuff against.
I am very open to food, which this area struggles a lot with. There are 3 things that this area is a fastball right down the middle: brown gravy, ranch dressing, and barbecue sauce. They love it. They absolutely love it. So, and I don't know why. I mean, but to take those things that we do that the people love and do them the way we do them.
Yeah.
We make our ranch from scratch. We make our barbecue from scratch. So the things that I know people love, we make it from scratch, and we make it to the best of our ability. That's our approach, is to take everything that we can from scratch and do it the best we can, no matter if it's the dressings, the pickles. I mean, you can get a pickle anywhere, but you can't get
your pickle anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And from scratch, everything. Our chips that we serve with our sandwiches and burgers, we hand cut those, brine them ourselves. Like, the attention to detail is so much more than a lot of other places that I think that gives us an edge as far as our food goes.
Here's maybe one thing I'll tell our listeners. I think the reason that you and I are talking today is actually because of those pickles. With the podcast, we're just trying to highlight people that are doing their part to make Central Minnesota better. Their little, your little slice of the world. What are you doing that to make us better?
Right.
And so our office is just a couple blocks down from MC's. And okay, full disclosure, I went a handful of years ago. Truthfully, I don't even know how long you've been there, but I went a handful of years ago, never thinking about MC's. Okay. I didn't go to college here. I'm not a drinker. So the hairy buffalo thing, that's not really my thing.
Sure.
And I never thought about MC's as I need to go here for lunch as many days as I possibly can, and I need to tell everyone about MC's. I now go. I mean, I think at least once a week we're in at MC's. And when we cater, if we're having events here, I try to cater as often as I can. I'm trying to tell people you got to go to MC's, and that happened a handful of years ago. I don't know how long you've been there, but at some point something happened, and I found out, someone said you just got to go and try MC's. Their lunch is great. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, the bar that everybody goes to get drunk at,
Right.
And when I went, I am eating this pickle that came on my plate, and I'm just absolutely blown away. And I wasn't blown away because the pickle was delicious, because it is so good and so delicious. The thing that blew me away about your pickle is that no one slights any restaurant for buying their pickles out of a 5-gallon bucket that sits on the floor in the back of the kitchen, and you open the thing up and you pull the pickle spear out. There are really good restaurants that put a purchased pickle on that plate, and you don't judge. I don't think there's anybody that's judging a place I'll never go back
because of the pickle,
because that pickle spear was there.
Right.
But the fact that these pickles are so good, it was just so. This is what I tell everybody: the attention to detail that Jason and his team put into a pickle, an ingredient that no one will hammer you for. If you just put the pickle spear on, no one's going to think about it. But the attention to detail that they do for that pickle is indicative of the kind of attention to detail they put into the rest of the food.
Right.
And so we were in there. Season is the server that helps us the most. And I just asked her, I said, hey, Season, this is a little weird. We got this podcast. We like to talk to interesting people. I love this pickle. I love what you guys are doing here. The food is so good. Do you think your chef would ever come on the podcast? And she's like, let me go ask him. But I think he would. And then we chatted that day. And so anyway, the pickle that you guys make is so good. You got to go try it. And also it feels kind of anthemic or indicative of what you guys actually do every day with your menu. So kudos to you. Keep up with that good work. I absolutely love it.
The chef before me, his name's Job. Super talented.
Yep.
Really, 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 really knows his way around food. And he kind of started the change of MC's from getting away from the deep fried ham and cheese balls and the deep fried bar food and
everything that just shows up frozen on the truck.
Correct. And he kind of started the movement to where they were and this is pre-COVID, to where they kind of started to see people not being downtown as much anymore
Yeah.
as far as work went.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing that if we're going to be relevant in the food scene downtown, we need to change. And so we got to set ourselves apart from, you know, all the other places that are doing the same thing down here.
Yeah.
You know, I have one regular that hammers me. He's like, you got to put a club sandwich on your menu. I'm like, over my dead body. Because you can get it anywhere.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I get it. You like club sandwiches, but you can make one at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to make you food that you can, you know, open up, pop your fridge open, and in 5 minutes you have the same thing that you could have, you know, in my restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not what we're trying to do. And so once he left and I took over, I definitely had the same mindset of, and it was the same way when I was the executive chef at Blackberry Ridge out in Sartell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was there for 6 years. Those people are like family to me. They're awesome.
Awesome.
But they gave me full creative freedom
Mm-hmm.
and trusted me with it.
Yeah.
And I took the ball and ran. And we had, you know, great food for a golf course. It was, you know, a great place to come and eat. It's got a beautiful patio.
Mm-hmm.
And we were
I think it might be my favorite patio in central Minnesota.
Yeah, and so I got Cisco to pay for that patio, negotiating a 2-year deal.
That's cool.
With them. And they made us a great patio, gave us the furniture, everything, just to become as a partnership. Because at the end of the day, the better site and facility we have for dining,
The better food you can do.
and the more money they make.
Yeah.
Because it's you know, what's good for them is good for us.
Yeah.
So it was a great partnership. Like I said, the Fenlison family out at Blackberry, they're top-notch people to work for, and they were awesome. Just giving me that freedom, giving me the creativity and trusting me.
Yeah.
Because when I came, it was kind of an interesting scenario. We were closing a restaurant that I was working at, and I said, you know, yes, I would love to come work for you, but you need to understand that I'm bringing, and this is kind of, I mean, I don't want to say tooting my own horn or whatever, but my guys didn't want to go anywhere else. They wanted to come with me. So when I had my second meeting with them about coming there, I said, here's the thing. I would love to come and work for you, but I'm bringing my team with me to work here. And they were like, well, they hadn't interviewed any of them. They hadn't talked to any of them. They didn't know what they're getting themselves into. I said, you just have to trust me. The people that I'm bringing with me are great people. They work hard. They know what standard I have as far as the food goes. You just have to trust me.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful marriage after that for, you know, I was there almost 8 years.
Cool.
So,
That's great. Maybe I should ask you this. When I tell people you got to go try MC's, they ask me what kind of food it is. And this is how I describe it. I say it's pub food, but really elevated pub food. How do you feel about that moniker?
Yeah, I would say you're in there with the explanation. It's not a steakhouse.
Yeah.
It's not a seafood joint. We do steaks. Sometimes we do seafood, but we try to not pigeonhole ourselves into one thing.
Sure.
I think your generalization of our menu is pretty accurate with, you know, how you describe it. We you know, and then we have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, we have, like I said, we have a lot of global flavors that we incorporate.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is stuff that you won't see anywhere else. And that kind of sets us apart a little bit, you know, and, you know, but some of it I have to be mindful of that, you know, it's tough for me to run, let's say, Mexican food or Central American food sometimes because they're like, well, I can go to Tequila Town, I can go, you know, there's four other places that, and not saying that is going to be as good, but there's just a lot of other choices, and people aren't educated on around here as much on what the difference is
True.
between us and them. So like some of that stuff I got to be mindful to stay away from, but just keeping us relevant is key.
One thing, it feels, this isn't like just a St. Cloud thing, but just in general, it feels like so many restaurants that you go to, not only does the menu look really similar, but the food itself is like, oh, like I think this just came off of a Cisco truck or whatever.
And that's the problem with a lot of restaurants in central Minnesota is everybody's getting the same thing off the truck. And they're getting it to where they're not using scratch ingredients because it's labor saving, time saving, but they're all getting the same damn thing.
Right. Yeah.
So then it's just how do you paint it differently, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's still the same thing.
Yep.
So it's hard for me to eat in this town. Outside of my own house or outside of where I work.
Yeah.
Because it's all the same thing.
If you guys are going out, where are a couple of places in central Minnesota that you enjoy going other than MC's?
Love the Pony.
Yeah.
My good friend Chris is the chef there, and he's been there forever, and he is a lot like me as far as exploring different, food.
Also, like some of the Central Asian cuisine stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's super talented. He's a great guy. Works his tail off. He's there 6.5 days a week. I mean, and he's always, and their whole staff there, their kitchen there, they're a lot like our kitchen. They buy in to what they're trying to do.
Yep.
They want to learn. They want to grow, and they want to put out a great product, and they do. I love going to the Pony. Probably one of my favorite burgers in the area, Goodfellas out in Ronnaby.
I have never been.
Fantastic.
Really?
Their burgers are so good. Fresh, never frozen, seasoned. I mean, they do a great job. They always have a little color to them. They're not cooked to death.
Yeah. I've said it on here before, but have you had a burger at the VFW on Division?
A long time ago.
Hand-pressed patty.
Really?
The first time I was there, I ended up kind of by accident. We were on this little exploratory thing. We're just looking for the best wings in town and just like bouncing around, just trying different wings. And it was like, what if the VFW has great wings? They have no wings. And the server was like, but you should try the burger. And then it came out and then like it was an irregular shape. And I was like, did you guys press that patty? She said, yeah, all the time. And it's just like, she said it like it was nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is not a normal thing. Like, the vast majority of places are not taking raw beef and hand pressing that. And so I would commend it to you. Go and give that burger a shot sometime.
Now I'm going to have to.
Yeah. And again, it's like an awesome pub burger that happens to be hand pressed and fried in back. It's great.
Yeah. Crew out in St. Joe. They do a really good job. Their pizzas on Mondays. They only do them on Mondays. You got to pre-order them ahead of time. But the dough is always fresh that day. Top-notch ingredients. It's so good. Yeah. It's definitely one of the best pizzas around. I mean, we are stuck in a town with a bunch of conveyor belt pizzas, and theirs is not.
Cool.
And it's so good.
I have not had it. I'll have to give it a shot.
Yes, only on Mondays. They only do it on Mondays. Got to pre-order it. It's so good. But other than that, man, it's tough in this town. There's a lot of, there's a few that are up here, and then there's just a lot right here. Sure. And I think the corporate landscape has a lot to do with that in this town.
Yep.
It's pretty unfair to us that work really hard in independent restaurants that Red Lobster's parking lot is full on 3:00 on a Wednesday. Yeah. Same with Olive Garden. Yep. Same with Applebee's. Same with Texas Roadhouse. If you're going to a restaurant because they have really good rolls or biscuits or breadsticks, you're going for all the wrong reasons. Sure. Stop it. Just stop. Go get some good food.
Yeah.
Like if that's the reason you're going, you have to reassess your dining thoughts.
There is also something, just big giant corporations have big giant marketing budgets, and it's
True.
It's easy to stay in front of, or it's not easy. It's hard work, but they have the budgets to stay in front of people and
Right, and they crush the volume,
Yeah.
you know, so they can give it to you they can give you, you know, what's Applebee's doing, 3 for $10, you know, so you get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert for $10.
Sure.
I mean, value people, yeah, they gravitate towards it, but they also gravitate towards really mediocre food in this town, and it's hard. It's hard for me to see.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, if I drive by Red Lobster at 3 in the afternoon, I'm going, God damn it, why? You know?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
here's the deal. In whatever your industry is, right? Like, I mean, I think this is a thing that every community probably faces, but whatever your industry is, there are people at kind of like a mom and pop, grassroots kind of level that are working really, really hard to try to like do something that's unique and special and different and, you know, always kind of up against big giant corporations.
Right.
And I think it's really important for communities like ours and every other community to have a really healthy and vibrant small business community, whether that's food or otherwise.
absolutely. I mean, it's the people that are running those places are spending money here.
Right.
And paying their bills and employing people here, and
Which there is a value to.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep.
That's very important
Yep.
because if we don't have that, I mean, then we're just, you know, an industrial wasteland of, you know, people that are making money for somebody far away that is not coming back into our community.
Yeah.
You know, so the money that is made from the independent places. It stays here.
A much higher percentage of it stays right here in our community.
Right.
So,
And that's needed.
Yeah.
You know, that's needed for our other independent businesses that,
Right.
you know, we get those people, and those people are the ones that are more indicative to come to a place like ours and not go to an Applebee's or a Red Lobster, because they know that money is going to somebody that is in the community, you know, so they're more pressed to go and spend it at places like that. So it's very important.
yeah. So we've got to cut this piece of like we want small business to do well in St. Cloud. We want restaurants to do well in St. Cloud. I think there's also this unique thing in that you work for a restaurant, for a business, an organization that has been downtown for a really, really long time. And it's one of my favorite questions to ask people recently is just, we clearly have stuff that needs to change and stuff that needs to happen in our downtown. What if you could solve downtown by doing one thing? What do you think you would do?
I really don't think there's one thing we could do.
But if you were going to start, if
I was going to start, just get people back in the offices. You know, working remote has really, really, really hurt us downtown.
Yeah.
You know, we used to have a huge lunch crowd, you know, and we still do good for lunch and dinners and stuff. And we're not hurting by any means, but we've definitely seen
An impact.
the traffic,
Sure.
you know, and it's just hard to get them back in because you know how comfortable it is at home.
Yeah.
You know,
Once you're in, it's hard to go out.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah, this building that we're in here, like I said, just a couple blocks down, you know, that was part of the reason of kind of moving our team over here is I believe in downtown. I want to be there are so many businesses that are like working hard, trying to be a part of that. And we just wanted to play a small role and being down here and lunch and, you know, trying to patronize the local spots. Jason, I got a question for you. So you've been involved in food for a long time.
Yep.
What's your first memory? What's your, like, when you think about like food, maybe it's the first time you ate something and you remember it, or your relationship to, you know, someone in your life who kind of encouraged a love of food and pursuing that. What's your first
so
memory?
my mom was not a great cook.
Okay.
She was really good at making lasagna. And that was like her one dish that she was really good at. But she loved food. She just wasn't very good at it. But she loved eating good food and always encouraged me to cook.
Yeah.
And she would always come to me and say, you should make this, or you should, one year for Christmas, she wanted porcini encrusted tenderloins. And she's like, could you do it? I'm like, well, yeah, I could do it, and
Is this before YouTube?
Long. This is, we're talking
And
early
so, like,
2000s.
So do you find it at like a recipe book, or like how'd you tackle that?
I have for a long time. I have a vast collection of literature, books, notes, different things I've tried, and I always kind of keep that, stuff. I went to culinary school. I don't think I threw one piece of paper away.
Sure.
I kept everything.
Yeah.
And then just knowing flavors and going, well, this will work with this will work with that. And then just trial and error.
Yeah. Fun.
And it was, my mom was, even though she was not a great cook, she was a huge inspiration in my cooking. Just because I always wanted to make her food that she wanted, and she would have clients from work over for a dinner party, and she would ask me to cook, and we would always, I'd always do it for her, and she would say, and she was kind of the pressing factor of going to culinary school. She's like, why don't you just do it professionally, like seriously professionally, like not just work in a kitchen, like go and be
take it to the
a chef
next level.
and do that. So
cool. And you said you have 2 daughters. Do you see is there a culinary bug in either of them?
My youngest one, my oldest one, who is a 9th grader in high school, she would, if you would let her have cheeseburgers every day, she would do it. But my youngest one, she always wants seafood boil. She always wants, making tortilla chips from scratch, which was an absolute disaster. She did it when we weren't home, and she added cold water to the hot oil to cool it down after she was done.
Yep.
It was not good.
Yep.
But
and was she okay?
After a week
Yeah.
of she had a few burns on her hands and one on her face, but it scared her.
Yeah.
And it was a lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But she is adventurous in wanting to do that all the time. Trying, one of her favorite things is to try exotic fruits.
All right.
So,
does she have a favorite that she's tried?
She loves mangoes, but not like the mango you get at Coburn's. Like different,
like you're getting stuff shipped in.
Or go to the Asian market, Vientiane.
Yeah.
She loves to go to Vientiane. She loves to just walk around Vientiane and just look at the different stuff. She is definitely very much more of my foodie child. She loves Asian food. She loves spice. My oldest one, not so much, but she knows what she likes, I guess.
Yeah. It's so funny that you said that about Vientiane. Whenever I travel, when I'm overseas, I always try to go to a grocery store.
Sure.
They're like, I know what my grocery store looks like and feels like, and I kind of know where stuff's laid out, and I know what the produce, right? That like our produce has a look to it, right?
Sure.
There are things that I'm expecting.
Exactly.
When you walk through and you look at the fish or you look at the meat, like I'm aware of what kinds of cuts of meat are going to be there. I know what fish are going to be there. Like I kind of know our thing. And so because I know ours, when you go to a new culture, you get to see and understand a little bit about how they approach food, because the vegetables are completely different and the proteins are different and the fish are different.
Right.
And so you kind of get to experience, even if I'm not, like if I'm traveling for work or something, I'm not buying any groceries. I'm not doing any cooking or anything.
Yeah.
But I just love to see how people engage with their everyday food items. Not just going to restaurants and eating good new food, but like in a grocery store. How do you approach food? How do you approach these different ingredients? And I love seeing that.
That's another thing about people in central Minnesota that I encourage to get out and not just go to Coburn's or Cashwise. There's some great ethnic markets in the St. Cloud area. I mean, that, if you want to make the best tacos you've ever had in your life, probably go get the chorizo from the place in the Gateway Plaza. It's fantastic. It's the best chorizo I've ever had.
Huh.
And, don't be scared of the language barriers.
Yeah.
They're there to help you,
Yeah.
and
to sell a product.
And sell product.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They want your money
Yeah.
as much as any other independent business would.
Yep.
And they're not a corporate market.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the ethnic markets, people don't understand. There's probably a dozen in this town.
Yeah.
Between the Mexican, the new Caribbean market that just opened up, Vietnam,
Some East African.
Somali markets. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't think you're going in there and, they're not holding themselves to a high standard of, their groceries. They take a lot of pride in what they're doing and what they're putting out. And you don't have to be worried about it. You go in there and, those people love to help you.
Yep.
And they love that you're making the food of their country. They really enjoy that, And so, I mean, do it. Challenge yourself to go do that.
Yeah.
And see those people and talk to them.
Yep.
And, what's your favorite dish to make from back home?
Yeah.
Is one of my favorite questions to ask.
Cool.
And they'll go and grab you everything you need.
Yep.
And here you go.
Yep. That's cool.
So,
Jason, if you were going to cook yourself one last meal, what are you going to cook for yourself?
oh boy. Live fire Texas barbecue.
Ooh, all right.
I did it twice at MC's this summer.
Like West Texas, salt, pepper.
Salt, pepper, live, oak fired. No, I'm like everybody else. I also have a soccer mom barbecue at home. I have a pellet, and but I also have that I own with the chef at the White Horse. We both went in together on it. It's a live fire pit on a trailer, and there's something about the live fire flavor that's amazing that I love, and it's something that we love to do, and the flavors are unmatched. We probably use it 10 times a year, but when we do, we cook for like 100 people.
Yeah. Do you use it at the restaurant sometimes?
I did twice this summer.
Okay.
It was called Smokehouse Saturdays.
Oh, man, I missed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah?
It was good.
Are you doing brisket or ribs?
So we did pork belly burn ends, we did ribs, we did wings, a bunch of sides. We did like a sliced chuck that we smoked kind of similar to a brisket.
Yep.
I just feel like lends a little bit more moisture. It's got a little bit more fat through the marbling.
Yep. A little bit more forgiving.
And forgiving too.
Yeah.
Yep. Brisket can be finicky.
Yeah.
It's a tough cut of meat,
Yeah.
But yeah, we did, and then, like I said, we did 4 or 5 sides with it. We served it with, and this is the most central Minnesota thing ever. They were mad. Some people were mad that they didn't get butter patch with their white bread because they wanted to just have bread and butter. And I'm like, you've never been to Texas. You've never had real barbecue. That's not what it's for. Sure. And even the sides that we put our own spin on them.
Cool.
Did them really authentic. It was a ton of work. I had to start. So we served on Saturday. I had to start on Thursday, and we pretty much cooked
around
all
the clock.
day, around the clock.
Yep.
And luckily, my daughter was old enough to where she needed a little extra spending money, so she was the pit supervisor.
Cool.
So she hung out outside with the pit and just made sure that we didn't have anybody messing with it or anything. But and she loved it. She got paid.
Yeah.
You know,
That's cool.
hung out on her phone and
Yeah.
was the supervisor. But then she came in on that Saturday, and she, you know, we made 4 different sauces.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she portioned up sauce, she portioned up slaw. She took it really seriously, which
Yeah.
was a lot of fun for me
That's cool.
to work with my daughter.
Yeah.
You know, so I'll never forget that. It was a lot of fun. But definitely Texas barbecue, or I love Korean food.
Yeah.
I love Korean food.
Same.
And so it would definitely be 1 or 2 of those.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last year, Josh, who's behind the camera. Hi, Josh. Josh and I got to go to Korea for work and shot some photo and video there. And, of course, got to eat all of the really best Korean food I've ever had.
Yeah.
It was so good. I love it. Well, sweet. Jason, I'm so thankful that you came on. I love MCs. I love telling people to go to MCs. I hope you keep making your delicious house-made pickle and, you know, continue to approach food in a really unique and authentic kind of way. I really appreciate you coming on. If you're listening now and you're in the St. Cloud area, go have lunch at MC's. Don't go on Mondays because they're closed. I've been not closed on Mondays. Weren't you closed on Mondays?
7 days a week.
7 days a week. In my mind, okay, this is good.
And we're one of the only places downtown that you can come to on Sundays,
Okay.
because everything else is pretty much closed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, football games, you know, Vikes games, come downtown,
Yeah.
you know, shop. You know, there are some great shops down here that, you know, would love to see you, you
Yep.
know, and like I said, that money stays here
In
for
this
the most
community.
part
Mm-hmm.
in this community. And we would love to see you. We'd love to have you,
Yeah.
you know, because, I mean, when we do stuff like that, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we want to see it successful.
Yeah.
Because we put a lot of work into it, and
Yeah.
we really want to, you know, sell our product, show our product. So we'd love to see everybody.
Cool. Well, sweet. Jason, as we close, we always we do an unpaid ad. Do you have someone, something, or some idea that you think deserves a little plug today?
Be adventurous.
All right.
Be adventurous. Don't be scared. We really need more of that. And not just culinary. You know, if there's been something you've always wanted to do, God, you got to hurry up and do it.
Yeah.
You got to, because you never know what's around the corner for the next day.
Yeah.
So, you know, approach food with an open mind, approach life with an open mind. Don't be pigeonholed, because you blink and it's gone.
Yeah. Well, sweet. My unpaid ad, since we talked about Korean food, bibimbap. Go give it a shot. Go try it. It is just, it's a really remarkable dish, a Korean dish. Throw a little gochujang on there, and it's very special.
Don't be afraid of kimchi.
That's right. I love kimchi.
You know, people hear it's got fermented shrimp paste in it. Oh my God. Don't.
So good.
Just try it.
That's right. Well, sweet. Jason, really appreciate you coming on. Thanks.
Loved it.